banter. Balls and banter. No excuses, just win, win, win with your balls and banter. We got balls, we got pucks, we got sticks, we got everything in between. We got balls and banter.
What is up, folks? It's Thursday. Welcome to the show. Hope you're having yourself a great day. Hope it's been a good week. Excited to wrap the week here with lots of stories, lots of stuff we got to get into. We'll finish on some memes, as we so typically do on Thursday. Tommy boy, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. I've got my only hockey jersey on.
Yes, great reference there.
And the glasses.
Yes. Did you order this as a whole getup, or did you piece it together?
No, I did. Well, I already have the glasses. These are my normal glasses. I just put white tape on them. But in honor of the U.S. hockey team potentially receiving a gold medal, I was like, I got to get into the hockey spirit.
Yeah. What better than a Chiefs jersey? You can read an article on Air It Out Bro about the hockey team who did get a win in overtime over my Scandinavian brethren, Sweden, 2-1. A little harder than we wanted it to be, but Quinn Hughes gets the goal in overtime to send the Americans into the semi. They'll face Slovakia there. Hopefully pull off that win and then have a Canada-U.S. showdown. That Canada team is tough, though, man. I tell you, they're curb stomping the piss out of some people out there. So we'll see. But you saw the thing on your screen. Make sure you check out airitoutbro.com, bookmark it, share it, do all those things. And again, congrats to the U.S. men's hockey team.
I really hope it's Canada versus United States for the gold medal.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
It's good. To me, that game is going to be up there with the United States versus Russia. I was 11 years old when that game took place. It's still to this day the greatest sporting event that I've ever witnessed in my life. So I'm hoping that, 40 some years from then, we get the same experience.
That's a high bar that you're setting. I that would be remarkable. I think it'd be a great game. Certainly would be intense.
Because right now I feel like Canada is more of an enemy than Russia is.
There's
I'm only kidding.
But there is some distaste in everyone's mouth right now with things going on. Obviously, we're not besties like we have been historically. So, interesting stretch that you make there. But this would be an amazing game. And they think that they're unbeatable. They think that they're the tops.
Right.
We've got some great players. They might be better, but they struggled in their game too. They didn't, just walk into the semis. So,
yeah, they're almost communists. They don't know the difference between males and females. They're running around with the MAID program, euthanizing their own people. I mean, there's a lot of similarities between the former Soviet Union and Canada right now.
Well, you don't have a lot of the woke stuff in you didn't have that, but the communism part. Yeah, I mean, the government's out of control.
Well, communism is woke.
Well, okay, I'm saying the DEI, yeah. Putin and Gorbachev and all those guys, they're not too keen on their population talking about stuff like that. At any rate, from that to this is kind of an international segue or tie-in. So you've got here in the state of Florida the IMG Academy in Bradenton, which is just like a sports powerhouse. I went to a great sports powerhouse locally. A lot of swimmers who swim in the Summer Olympics go to the school I went to. Great sports program. This place was conceived, IMG Academy was conceived to just be the new frontier. You pay the kids who board there, spend for football upwards of $90,000 a year, and you get to play in a powerhouse team, and you get looked at by more people. Anyways, great athletic institution, if you can afford it. And if you don't want your kid in your house, you want to send them away. I've never understood that part. But at any rate, I digress because they're in some hot water. Because they've taken – so OFAC and the Treasury Department they were under investigation because two of their folks that were paying tuition and pumping money into the system were actually tied to Mexican drug cartels. So they're getting fined damn near $2 million, $1.7 million to settle this whole investigation, this whole suit, after two students had ties to Mexican cartels. That's not the headline. I mean, can you imagine when you're working at a school, whether it's a school like IMG or a smaller private school or public school, what have you, you have meetings with the athletic department. You have meetings about parents and PTAs. You have meetings with the boosters, and there's drama because high school parents bring drama. Some of you do. Some of you are guilty of this. But in the years that I coached and in the short little window that I served as an AD, I remember dreading some meetings and having some bombs get dropped. I never once had anything remotely close to, did you know that Johnny and Marcus's parents are part of the Mexican drug cartel and we're under investigation by the federal authorities and now we have to pay millions of dollars? The PR fallout for this one's not a good situation for IMG.
No, it's not. I can't think of anything more miserable than to have a school that's associated with a drug cartel.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be a PR nightmare. But this goes back to my general feeling about IMG and other places like that. Speaking of communism, as we did about Canada and the loose affiliation there, I feel the same way about schools like this. And I feel this, and you see this a lot in sports in general, where parents decide, okay, Johnny is just going to do this sport. It's very sort of communist to me because back in the day of the old Soviet Union, it was like, oh, look at the Vladimir here. He is very good. He is going to be a fencer at the age of 6. And now you go to your academy and you become a fencer and that's all you do.
You'll see your parents later, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Where us in the United States, most people played football, basketball, baseball, were the three sports that you did. Some people, if you were down south in Florida, you played golf, soccer, whatever. But my point being is you had a more well-rounded sort of education in sports, and you didn't have to pick something to specialize in. True. And I feel like we're getting to this point where parents see kids that have really good talent and see money signs and like, okay, let's put them there and follow this communist track and just have Johnny be, I keep thinking about that one kid in, what was it? Todd Marinovich. It was, he's like the poster child for something like this, where the parent is like, you're going to do this. You're going to be the next quarterback. You're never going to eat McDonald's. You're never going to do this. And then we just saw him implode. And I feel like that you could do more damage as a parent, kind of forcing your kid in that direction. And it depends on the kid too. Are they doing it because they really like it? Or are they feeling pressure from their parents? Or is it both? So I don't know. I feel like I'm old school in this. I feel like the old sort of get off my lawn type situation where just let them play whatever they want to play. And if they excel in something, then they'll naturally rise in whatever that is, wherever they are.
Yeah. Look, the old school logic's is not wrong. I tend to agree. We used to have good athletes, played multiple sports. Even the kids who weren't athletes played multiple sports, had fun with it. It shook things up. That's just not where things are. Look, I'm not mad at IMG for creating it. In fact, I would love, if I had lots of money, I would create an IMG right here because it would be so fun. Play Jerry Jones with a bunch of kids. Go make my day Academy. Good. Yes. But
we specialize in pickleball, shuffleboard, and horseshoes.
I'd love a game of horseshoes.
But then you have countries like Norway, where the kids, they're not allowed to compete. There's no competition until they're 13. But before they're 13, they do, in Norway, it's all winter sports. They learn every, downhill, slalom, jump, everything. Ice hockey, curling, everything. And then the government comes in at 13 and says, all right, who's good? And then whoever's good, they start giving money to them to be like, now you're on this team. You're doing this from now on. And the government of Norway decides you're going to represent us one day, so here you go. And if you don't get picked, it's, oh, at least you know how to ski now. Go to school and get a job. Like, it's very different there.
Yeah, I mean, we're 40 trillion in debt. Do we really want the government kind of, jumping lanes into childhood sports?
I don't want the government touching anything anywhere in here. I think IMG's doing some things right. Obviously, they did some things very wrong here. They admitted to it. Seems like they're going to get off with a PR snub and $1.7 million, which is probably not that big of a deal for an IMG type place.
Not when you're dealing with fentanyl money. I mean,
yeah. True. This next story, I'm excited for this guy. Coaching at any level is difficult. Certainly when you get to D1, it's super difficult. But within the D1 stratosphere, there's different pressures, yes. Expectations, yes. But in this new era, like being a group of 5 coach is tough. Are the expectations that of Alabama or Michigan, Ohio State? No. But you've got to retain your roster and repopulate your roster each year because your best players get poached and taken by bigger programs, and the kids want to go because they get to put on a cool helmet or jersey somewhere that they dreamed of playing, and now they've earned that right to do so. But you've had Northern Illinois coach Thomas Hammock, who Northern Illinois, of course, leaving the MAC, going to the Mountain West. And he's the one who we've played the clip before. He's like, you should come here to get an education, do all these things. You should do all these things for free and be grateful that you get to play football. Very old school, sticking with your theme, Tom, old school logic and approach to what the college football experience is supposed to be. Not what it is anymore, but what it's supposed to be. At any rate, he's gotten an opportunity, as you can see there on your screen. Thomas Hammock is leaving for an administrative offensive assistant role with the Seattle Seahawks, who are up for sale, by the way, right now. Anyone's got some money lying around. Just won the Super Bowl. The Allen estate has now officially put them up for sale. But he's going to go work there under Mike McDonald at the NFL level. And I say good for you, man. Not just because you're jumping up. Is it a demotion on some level because you're not in charge anymore? Maybe. Yeah, I guess you could argue that. But you're going to the NFL, and you've got a role there. And you can tell that the current system, the current landscape of college football has worn on Thomas Hammond and lots of people, not just him. But he's been outspoken about it. And to me, if I'm him and I get an opportunity to go be involved in an organization like the Seahawks or any one of the 32 NFL teams, I look around and I say, this is driving me absolutely bananas right now. And I don't want any part of it. I'm out. And so I think it's great for him, all that to say, I wish more people thought the way that he does. And the ones that do, I wish they spoke out more. But congrats to him getting that job as an offensive assistant with the Seahawks.
I think it's a good move, and I think that he's the perfect type of man that you want to be in the NFL at this point in time with all these sort of like player-friendly coaches. I think the NFL is moving away from that. So if you have somebody that has the characteristics of being a leader of men, like this, I'm sorry, what's
Hammock,
his name
Thomas
again?
Hammock?
Hammock, yeah. Like he's demonstrated, that's the type of person I think the NFL would want within their organization, whatever team it is, and to be able to groom them into that type of coach that is a leader of men and not just one of the boys. And I think that's what the NFL is lacking right now in a lot of the organizations that they have.
Yeah, no, they are. They are, and a lot of places are right now. Well, again, congrats to Thomas Hammock. Go have some fun at the NFL level. Lower your recruiting stress and NIL stress. There's plenty of other stress waiting for you up there at the NFL level, but it's a different kind of stress. You got speaking of transfers, you got a new Notre Dame receiver. So Mylan Graham was an Ohio State player, transferred to Notre Dame. So, again, I hate the transfer portal. I like it when kids stay loyal to their program and can go back and visit one school and say, that's my team, that's my alma mater. It gets complicated. 1 to 2 is different, obviously, than TJ Finley, who was playing for his 7th team this year. a real whatever. But Milan Graham, so he transfers to Ohio State, and he had a great comment, a great little zing to that team down south. Because someone was asking him, like, hey, so now you're at this other great program. You're at Notre Dame, member of the Fighting Irish football team. What's the difference between Ohio State and Notre Dame?
Yeah, not too different. Just have to actually go in person, just stuff like that. And at Notre Dame, obviously, everybody knows how it is with academics. So just being able to lock in with stuff like that.
So you got to go to class, is what Myron is saying. That's the big difference. Go to class in person. I love that he dropped that. And Thomas Hammock would love this too. I'm pretty sure I can say. Because that's what the experience is supposed to be. Everything's online now. These guys are essentially professional athletes. They're getting paid. They're getting paid a lot more than you get paid in conservative digital media. I'll tell you that much. But it was supposed to be you get this opportunity. You go play for 4 to 5 years, 5 with a red shirt, maybe 6 in rare circumstances back in the day if you also had a medical red shirt. But typically 4 to 5 years. You have great friends for life, coaches, mentors for life, business connections through the university, the boosters, the alums for life. And if you're good enough, maybe you get a shot at going and playing in the league. But if you don't, oh well, you got taken care of, loads of gear, food provided, room and board, and you got an education. Now, do I think the college education system in America is everything that people make it out to be? No, I think we've seen there's a lot of fallacies in that. There's a lot of things broken about that. Certain degrees and things you need a degree for. Well, I'd like the doctors and people in fields like that to actually have studied what they're going to learn in medical school and residency and all that. But most people, it's like, yeah, you get the point. But you still, it's the way things were supposed to be. It's the rite of passage. It's the tradition. And good on Milan Graham for calling it out. And anytime anyone has not that he was necessarily trying to slam Ohio State. I don't know if he was or he wasn't. I don't know the kid. But anytime it comes off that maybe he was, I'm okay with it.
I think he was just being honest.
Right.
I watched that clip over and over again, and it made me laugh so hard because of his honesty. And, to me, the bar is set very low for student athletes. And him saying, well, the main difference is you have to go to class and not just do online classes, which is, that online classes is almost to the point of just not showing up. Or just, it's the minimal effort of just logging on. So for him to say that you have to show up in person, I just thought was extremely humorous and kind of, sets the stage for where we are right now with college athletics. I will say, though, back in the day when I was working in South Bend at a TV station at the NBC station, WNDU, we used to have interns that would come into the station that were in the communications program at Notre Dame. And one of those students that was assigned to me, who I had to teach how to edit, was a wide receiver for the Irish, Lake Dawson, who is now the general manager, I believe, of the Oklahoma Sooners football program. And I will tell you, that kid showed up every day that he was supposed to for me to teach him how to edit.
Good on Lake Dawson. I love it.
So they do, at least back then, they do show up. Now, I could, I saw Lake Dawson. I interacted with him. Now, people like Jerome Bettis, on the other hand, I can't vouch for.
Well, he was in the different category. Star running back. Yeah. Well, but the discipline was, it's not to say there's so many kids who are so disciplined. There's kids now that are more disciplined than the kids were back in the day on their own accord because they want it and they're hungry. And they're going to get opportunities in life because of it. But back then it was you do this or else. You practice, tape, film, meetings, all of that stuff. And not only would they, as I tell you all the time, do spot checks in class. And if you're not there, or you walk out of class, you see a coach, like you're good to go. You don't walk out of class and coach is there waiting to see which of you were at class. You're not good to go. And things are going to be really rough for you. But it's not just class. Then you'd have study table where you have to go and study. It's basically study hall with your teammates, monitored by coaches, assistants, admins, etc. There used to be a lot more. Then to cross compare to what Milan's talking about at Ohio State, and not just Ohio State. Obviously, it's a terrible academic institution, but most of the schools where it's online, to your point, Tom, you don't have to show up. In the Chat GPT era, it's like, okay, just tell me what things are due when and when the tests are, and I'll make it happen. Very different. Very different.
Yeah, it's very different. The 90s and the early 2000s have set sail a long time ago.
Long time ago. Okay. We're going to talk attendance figures. You'll see why we're talking attendance figures on the other side of this quick break, but we're going to talk about NFL, college, kind of some comparison there, and then a couple other things. And then we've got what's going on this weekend. We've got memes. We've got all sorts of stuff coming up. Stick around.
We've all experienced low levels of electrolytes, whether from a late night of drinking, completing a half marathon, or maybe even just experiencing a bout of explosive diarrhea from a food truck. You know what it's like to need to replenish those also important minerals in your body. But why just settle for that when you can enjoy our new proprietary sports drink and Colon Sweet blend? Colon Sport. Colon Sport is the new frontier in electrolyte replacement and removal. With a quick surge of sugar and electrolyte replacement, you'll feel on top of the world. And then, like a brisk wind tickling your grandmother's chimes, you need to drop those minerals and a whole lot else. So stop drinking other successful mineral replacement drinks and jump on board the Colon Sport Express. We're not only sure you'll love the taste, but we promise you'll be coming back for more. Colon Sport only hydrates and replenishes electrolytes for a temporary period before blowing out your bowels and requiring most individuals to start the process over and over and over. Individual results may vary. Some individuals may experience significant weight loss.
So you guys know I'm a college sports guy ahead of pro sports. My truest, deepest love is the Minnesota Vikings because I've been a Vikings fan my entire life. But I love college sports, particularly college football, more than I probably should, right? And I saw a couple competing things come out this week because it's the off season. So we talk about random ass stuff when it comes to football in particular. Stuff that matters, but it's random. It's stuff that you don't necessarily get into during the height of the season because you're talking about individual performance, team performance, records, playoffs, all that kind of stuff. But there was this list that came out, and don't put it up yet, Disco, but there's this list that came out that they put 18, probably because that's what they could fit on their graphic. The top 18 average attendance for schools in college football. And then I went and I did some digging and looked at the average attendance. So before we put this graphic up, just for reference, I should say, the average attendance league-wide, the median, across the league this past year in the NFL was 69,055. 69,055. Dallas Cowboys led. They've got the biggest stadium, 92,991. Followed by the Giants in the Meadowlands. We're going to talk about the Giants in the Meadowlands in a weird roundabout way here in a few minutes again. 79,787, and the Green Bay Packers, 77,849. So some of the outliers in the NFL, bigger stadiums. But again, the average across the league, 69,000. Now here are the top 18 average home attendance figures for college football in 2025. Of course, Michigan up top with the big house, 110,842. Penn State just beneath it significantly beneath it, 107,000. Texas A&M, 106,000. Ohio State, 104,000. Texas, 102,000. Tennessee, 101,000 and change, almost 102. LSU, 101 and a half. Alabama, just over 100,000. Georgia, 93,000 and change. And then you see Florida, Auburn, Nebraska, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Clemson, Notre Dame, Wisconsin, Michigan State, with Michigan State's figure being the lowest on that particular graphic, showing 70,389. So the entire left row, the first 9 teams, are damn near double in some cases above the NFL's average attendance and significantly above the top 3 NFL attendance teams, the Cowboys, the Giants, the Packers. But then even the teams on the right, you go all the way down to Michigan State. Michigan State, 18th on this particular list at 70,389. They're higher than the entire NFL's league average for the season.
Technically, Michigan Stadium can only hold 107,000. So, like, their seating capacity.
Right, but we do standing room now?
No, yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, according to their capacity, their average is
what
still
is it, 107,501?
107,601. Yeah. And then their biggest game was 115,109 in 2013.
Yeah. We do things big in Ann Arbor. We do things big. It's the mass of humanity is just, it's staggering. And you are on top of each other because the bleachers are old, thin, uncomfortable. You can't even, you have you got to turn your legs, but hopefully you're standing for a lot of it. But yeah, so you get my point. College football is freaking massive. And the camaraderie, the pageantry, and the freaking figures for attendance are just, they're staggering. Again, yeah, the NFL makes more money. It's the highest earning sport in the world, but or certainly in America, is what I meant to say. But you look at these numbers and it's just crazy. I always bring it back to the people who are not college football fans. Like, well, I'm just an NFL guy. It's like, but you're missing out. You're missing out because the tradition, the history, the rivalries that exist at the collegiate level, and then the atmospheres, unparalleled. There's not an NFL atmosphere. The Vikings atmosphere is awesome. Seahawks atmosphere, awesome. Really, really top notch. But none of them, they don't compare to a college game at one of these schools on the list, certainly schools on the left side of the list, because it's just a whole nother world.
It is another world. And I think one of the reasons for that is it's the fountain of youth. It's the energy that youth provides, and the excitement that youth provides, because their excitement is genuine and they care about the school that they go to, and that bleeds over into every athletic endeavor that they have. And in this case, football more than any other. And also you get not only the students that are there and their excitement, you get the parents who have students there. You have graduates who come back to the school for a game. Right. There's more, to me, a sense of community and camaraderie with college football than you find in the pros. With the pros, you have a bunch of dudes who just, that's their gig. If they win, great. If not, oh well, they're going to go to the club or whatever to hang out and blow off steam and, try and work it again, the following weekend. But there's something that is still magical about college football where it's like, it's, I don't want to throw out life or death, but it has that feeling of, the win means so much more, and the loss is so much harder to take at the college level than it is at the pro level for everybody involved, the fans, the athletes, everyone.
Yeah. No, 100%. You want to be the number 1 seed in the AFC or the NFC, which requires 14-3, 13-4 kind of a year these days. Typically, that's going to probably get you there. But you can lose 7 games and make the playoffs in the NFL. You can be, if you're from the NFC South, you can be 8-9 and make the playoffs. So, it is, to your point, it's totally different. You lose a game early on in the college season or late in the key pivotal matchup, you might be out of the conference championship discussion and out of the college playoff discussion. It just, I don't want to use the SEC slogan because I'm a Big Ten guy, but it does just mean more. It does just mean more. Okay. So this one here, lots of debate about, we got lots of new stadiums coming in the near future, right? We got the Jags stadium being renovated. You got Kansas City getting a new stadium. Denver's talking about something new. The Redskins getting something new. Buffalo this year, which looks amazing. The Bears also on that list. And what's interesting about this is depending on who you talk to, they call where they're talking about going a different name. So it's contentious in a lot of ways. The first point of contention is the fact that it would appear at this point that the stadium is not going to be in Chicago proper. That does not mean the Bears are not the Chicago Bears anymore. They are going to be the Chicago Bears, but the stadium will not be there. Here's a headline that came out this morning, I believe. Chicago Bears one step closer to Indiana move as the stadium bill passes committee. So they're talking about moving this just across the border to Hammond, Indiana. Now, Tom, I'm going to let you weigh in on this because I will refer to it as Hammond, Indiana, as a Vikings fan. The Bears fans want to call it Wolf Lake, which is a lake in between. What's the area?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Hegewisch or something like that.
Yeah.
There's Hegewisch, Chicago, like a suburb that touches Wolf Lake, and then the other side of Wolf Lake is Hammond, Indiana.
Right. And so that is like one of the biggest bones of contention. I've got a lot of friends that are Chicago Bears fans, and I have one in particular who lives in Indianapolis who is huge. He went to all their playoff games. He goes to a lot of the home games, this past year to the playoff games. He will not refer to it as Hammond, Indiana. He refers to it as Wolf Lake. If I text him and I say, hey, what's the deal on the Bears moving to Hammond? He goes, they're moving to Wolf Lake. It's his response. And now he's gotten to the point where he refers to Wolf Lake as East Chicago. So everybody who's a Bears fan who has tight connections to the city and the Bears will not let go that it might be in Indiana. The actual physical stadium might be in Indiana. So to me, that's like the best part of this because it's the best way to needle friends of yours that are Bears fans.
Yeah.
But
so.
the crazy thing about this is, well, there's a couple of things at play here. And one is, so it's going to be the Chicago Bears, but the stadium funding is going to come from the people of Indiana. It's all kind of funky in there.
Yeah. No, that's where the politics of it, the taxes of it, all get super complicated. Having a team in a different state it's not common, but it's not rare either. Like we've got some instances of that in the NFL already. But that's where it gets wonky is, okay, well, who's footing the bill for this? Because usually it's a blend of team ownership and the community where the stadium is going. Now the stadium's going in an entirely different state.
Right.
Which does make it interesting. And for perspective, too, it's, 25 miles from Soldier Field to the new location in Hammond, Indiana.
Yeah, approximately.
There,
Yeah.
So 25 miles, how long that takes with traffic and everything is up for debate. Probably longer than 25 minutes, though, right? So the Giants and the Jets play in New Jersey. They don't play in New York, even though they're New York Jets and New York Giants. It's 12 miles there from Manhattan, just roughly speaking, generically speaking, Manhattan. Doesn't take you 12 minutes, takes longer. I've made that drive multiple times. FedEx Field in Maryland, where the Redskins play, is just under that. It's 11.4 miles from the general heart of Washington, D.C., which that's like a 30, 40-minute drive because it's D.C. And that's about to change when they get movement on their other stuff. But that's the distance you're looking at. But like you're saying here, Tom, like how is it going to work in terms of the actual structure of the deal? The Bears are going to sign what, a 35-year lease or something like that?
Yeah, 35 years. How many teams are in stadiums for 35 years now?
It seems like, yeah.
And Hammond's just right over the border, like it's right on the line.
Yeah,
It doesn't, I'm upset just being a Chicago fan that Illinois or the city of Chicago, whoever it was, they couldn't be like, yeah, we have one of the oldest teams in NFL history. We should probably keep it in here. They're like, nah, it's okay. We'll let it go.
It's Indiana, David.
No, I know. Yeah. But I was reading the article that you sent over this morning, dropping stuff here. Even the Indiana people who were passing it were saying "Go Bears" as they stamped it. Like, okay, cool. They're all for it. They must be Bears fans now. I mean, at least they are now. You know?
I mean, I never heard of Hammond, and I can't wait to reference it all the time. The Hammond Bears, but Hammond, Gary, some of those, they're just across.
Oh yeah,
and thank God you're not going to Gary, Indiana, because you'd be murdered going to the stadium.
And most people probably in Hammond work in Chicago, and then right over there, probably in South Holland or Chicago Heights. I've been over there. Most people probably work over in Hammond anyway. Like it's a cross pollination there. Anyway, I just think it's weird, but whatever it is. They're gonna have a new stadium finally. Great.
Yeah, but they're still probably gonna make it a dome, which is straight gay.
Yeah.
Now, is ours covered? Yes, it is, but it has been forever. Soldier Field has never been covered, and it should remain that way.
Should.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It also needs to remain in the city of Chicago, as far as I'm concerned. But you have a couple of things at play here. You have one of the worst mismanaged states in the entire union, and you have one of the worst mismanaged cities in the entire country.
Yeah.
So what are your options if you're the Bears, or if you're a legislator, or if you're somebody from Chicago? Chicago right now is bleeding businesses, and it's bleeding people, and the crime rate is skyrocketing.
Mm-hmm.
So now you want to build a new facility. If you're the Bears, what are your options? Because we all know that professional sports teams aren't on the hook for building their own stadiums. So it comes to your tax base. So you're in quite the conundrum here. You raise taxes on the people that are left in the state and the people that are left in Chicago to drive them out of the city and out of the state even more? Or you're like, oh, you know what? It's only 22 miles away in Indiana. Let them foot the bill for it. But if I'm living in Indiana and I'm, a Colts fan, why is my tax money going to the Bears?
Right.
Yeah. Hey, I read like a month ago that even the owners of the Bears went to the city and said, we're going to pay for it. We just need you to help with the infrastructure, get power and get water here. That's all. Everything else we're going to pay for. And it's going to bring jobs. We're going to be able to do concerts, all this stuff. And they're like, no, it's okay.
Well, here's the thing. I'm sure they talked about this. This is not my lane, although I kind of would like it to be. But like, why don't they do what the freaking Jags are doing here? The Jags are not moving locations. They're retrofitting to make it the stadium of the future. It's a 3-year project, 2 of which they're going to still play in the stadium, 1 of which they're going to play at in Orlando at camping, whatever it's called now, the Citrus Bowl. Like, why not just make Soldier Field the existing location, still be Soldier Field, but upgrade it, enhance it like other teams have done and the Jags are currently doing now? You can play there for X amount of years, and if you have to, you move to North. And it's much smaller, but Northwestern's building a new stadium that opens this year. Play there for 1 year if you have to, and you're just in Evanston.
So they're saying that the only reason why is because the current land where Soldier Field is it lacks the space for the modern dome stadium, which again is what you're saying, and then also the parking and all that. Like,
there's no parking.
There's just no space, and it's true. There's nothing out. There's really nothing around there that could help.
But they've made it work.
Yeah.
Like, you've made it work. It's cold as balls. You got to get yourself down there. Soldier Field's right on the water, so it's even colder and windier. But like,
yeah.
I don't know. If you're talking about leaving the problem is no one cares. Like, they don't care. The ownership doesn't care. They want their nice shiny stadium. They're going to have a nice car service that brings them to their suite. So like, no skin off their back. But if your options are leave the state, even though you're just across into state lines and you're still the Chicago Bears, or just retrofit one of the most famous stadiums in the league, I don't know. I go that way, but call me a traditionalist.
They're saying that the Bears want to have their own parking structure, and there's a lot of the things that they want to make sure they have on site to help with the fan experience, and there's not, what it currently is happening.
Yeah.
So
Well, fan experience means another revenue stream.
Yeah.
And that parking would be that revenue stream.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for the Chicago Bears and the Bears fans is that you have somebody like Brandon Johnson who's leading your city, who's one of the biggest quislings that has ever lived and has ever had any position of leadership. This guy wouldn't be able to do, he can't, it's clear he can't run a city, and for him to have any kind of say over trying to get zoning okayed or trying to work with the water department or the electric department to try and facilitate this construction project, that's way out of his depth. He can't do it. He's mentally challenged to the point where that's just not within his wheelhouse. You couldn't do it with him there. So you got to take him out of the equation. If there would be a way to take him out of the equation and still get the construction process going, then I could see it happening. But to retrofit a stadium and to get it to the seating capacity that you want it to be, I'm sure it would be a lot more inexpensive to tear down the existing structure that you have and build something new. So I think that's kind of where they're at with the construction process. So it just, to me, just the way that Chicago is and the way that the state is, just it's gone nuts with all their sort of progressive way about governance, that your only option is to move somewhere else that's going to be a little bit more friendly to being able to take on a construction project like this.
Well, note that the cities that it's done in are New York, Chicago, and D.C. That's where they couldn't get it figured out, so they had to go to new territory.
Yeah.
It's those types of, you're absolutely right, Tom. It's those types of metro areas, metro failed governing that causes a lot of these issues. We could go on forever. And the problem is the taxpayers like, I don't want to build this stadium. It's like, yeah, but you're okay to pay for some of the other bullshit that's happening in your communities that's, by the way, destroying your communities. Makes no sense.
Here's my question then. So if I'm playing, if I play for the Bears and all my home games are in Indiana, where do I pay taxes?
Yeah. I mean, it should still. California is a weird misnomer. Like, I know Sam Darnold got taxed a crap ton.
That was amazing, wasn't it? He owed more money than what he got for winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, his bonus, he ended up going underwater on his bonus, which is wild. I don't know that Indiana and Chicago do it that way. I don't know their tax laws out. This might not come as a surprise to you, but I'm not a tax specialist in Indiana and in Illinois. But I would think that it just comes down to where you choose as a player. Okay, am I living in a country club in and around Hammond, Indiana, or somewhere over there, or am I living in a high rise in Chicago, or one of the there's some nice suburbs in Chicago.
Or you live on the north side close to their practice facility. I mean, it's it's damn near on the other side of the city where the new stadium will be.
I'm sure it's going to be better for away teams that play in Indiana as far as taxes go, because I'm sure the taxes in Illinois that they would have to pay for their games are going to be pretty exorbitant compared to Indiana's.
Yeah. Lots going on. We'll see where it lands. They've got to pass this bill for the Hammond site to happen. Wolf Lake, if you're a Bears fan, but Hammond for all of us other folks in the NFC North who are mocking you right now. Okay. Let's get into what's going to go on this weekend. There's a lot of sports going on this.
I'm sorry, but before we move on, my friend I was telling you about from Chicago, he just sent me a text message while we were on, and he's like, well, there's been professional football in Hammond before, and sent me a screenshot of the Hammond Pros football from 1917 to 1926, and they've got kind of like the Vikings color scheme going.
Hey,
there you go. There's history. There's a precedent. All right, there's a lot of things coming up this weekend. We'll talk about that. We'll get into some memes. But first, here's what's coming up this weekend.
It's time for weekend glory. We got games, we got races. The car variety, that is. And we got some other stuff that probably doesn't fit as cleanly into categories. But we will discuss them anyways. Weekend Glory.
That auto-tune makes your voice sound silky smooth, Drew.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been working really hard on my musical chops. Really hard. So this weekend we do have lots of stuff going on. It is the darkest time of the year where we do not have football. Free agency starts in March. We've got the draft shortly after that. But really it's just quiet. Then you get some OTA action, some other stuff. But there are other sports. We've got Olympics still going on. The Genesis Invitational starts for the tour this weekend at Riviera Country Club out there in Pacific Palisades, California. $20 million purse for that tournament. So that kicks off today and carries on through Sunday as is normal on the tour. You've got the Auto Trader 400 coming up. Atlanta Motor Speedway starts 3 p.m. on Sunday. I'm telling you, this is what happens to me every year. I go through a depressed state at the end of football, and then I get back into watching golf, and I get into NASCAR about this time every year. It usually peters out, but Daytona was a blast last weekend. Like I'm looking forward to watching this race on Sunday, and prior to watching the race, watching hopefully the U.S. compete with Canada in the gold medal hockey game, which is unfortunately at 8:10 a.m. I'm sure they'll play it again later.
Yeah, it'll be either on USA or it'll be on the primetime coverage.
That's the only thing I hate about the Olympics, if I'm just being honest, which I always am, so I don't know why I made that caveat, is it's hard to keep things under wraps because they replay the stuff you want to see during primetime, which I get. But in this day and age with the internet and social media, it's like you already know what happened. Like you have like 74 headlines. They're like, Michelle Kwan wins gold. I use that as an example because that's not possible right now, so I'm not spoiling anything for anyone. And then they're like, coming up tonight on primetime, can Michelle Kwan win the gold? Like I already know.
Well, that's if you watched it during the day. Yeah.
But it's not even if you watched it during the day. It's like on every news site, every social media site, like it's everywhere. So I hate all that to say. I will get up and watch the damn game at 8:10 in the morning because I don't want you spoiling shit for me. That's how I will play it. If we have to have beer at 8 in the morning, then so be it. We will have beer and nachos in the morning. I just hope we're there. We got to beat Slovakia first.
Slovakia.
Beautiful country, by the way. Beautiful country. Okay, so the race, Genesis Invitational, men's hockey, other Olympic stuff. And then if you like college basketball, I don't know if you can recall a better Saturday outside of the Final Four than what we're being entreated to this coming Saturday. Because at 3 o'clock, right? 3 o'clock Saturday, number 4 Arizona plays number 2 Houston. That's a hell of a basketball game.
Oh, Nelly.
ABC, number 4 versus number 2. Then at 6:30, if you're still feeling frosty and you haven't had too many, and hopefully you pace yourself because number 1 Michigan plays number 3 Duke in Washington, D.C., at Capital One Arena at 6:30 p.m. I mean, that right there, that's a 6 to 9:30, 10-ish window of only getting off the couch for when you're jumping and screaming or when you have to go take a piss. Like that's an amazing Saturday.
That is an amazing Saturday. That's to me, that's the greatness of college basketball is getting games like that. It's kind of akin to college football, but it comes at a time when college football and professional football is over that just scratches that itch for the sports fan to be able to get games like that and just stay glued to the television set. There's nothing else like it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And look, here's the great thing, too, about this, and talking to you, Houston, Arizona, Duke, Michigan. 2 of you are going to lose. 2 of you are going to win. All 4 of you are likely going to be 1 seeds or 2 seeds in the tournament. Like, you're fine. You're moving on. We talked about this Tuesday. Some of you might need a loss to kind of light a fire going into March Madness and conference tournaments and then March Madness. But you can afford that. Michigan's 25-1. Look, I hope we beat Duke. I hope, moreover, it's just a great game, or that we curb stomp the shit out of them and win by like 23. But if we lose, it's a no-lose situation, because every one of these 4 teams are having outstanding years. The fact that we as sports fans and Americans get to watch them go at it this weekend in a regular season game, freaking phenomenal. By the way, you're going to have to watch it on TV, because if you want to go, these are some of the ticket prices for the Duke-Michigan game in Washington. Aftermarket, courtside's a little over $6,000 on one side, a little over $6,300 on the other.
Oof.
$2,000, $1,900, all, anywhere from $1,300
In that lower bowl.
to $2,000 in the lower bowl. And then the upper bowl, not too great. The lowest one I see is $398, $379, $371. Everything else in the $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 plus.
Look at
range.
that section 433 and 400. Still $1,200, $1,600.
Yeah. I mean, that's when you get 2 powers together like that, who happen to not just be powers, but happen to be ranked 1 and 3 in the nation, respectively. That's unfortunately what you get. Too rich for my blood.
Do you really think that Larry Ellison's going to be paying that kind of money?
Larry Ellison can buy every seat in Capital One Arena and have no problem.
Why does he always look like he's sweating? That guy creeps me out.
He's got a weird look, but he's our sugar daddy. I don't want to hang out with him. I think hanging out with his significant other would be fun, not for the reasons you think, but she's just feisty as hell. Like, you don't want to marry her, but you want her on your side to go get your Bryce Underwoods of the world, to go get the Michigan basketball roster. I mean, by the way, as a side, Curt Cignetti, amazing job last 2 years at Indiana, wins the national championship. He's only lost 1 regular season game since he got there. And then there's legitimate conversation as to how he's, a legend in the making, right? He clearly is. He does things differently. Dusty May is in this Curt Cignetti thing. I'm not saying Michigan's going to go on and win, but Juwan Howard straight wrecked our program. He was great during the Fab Five as a kid, but he didn't do great things for Michigan basketball, particularly at the end. Dusty May comes in. They go to the Sweet 16 in year 1 with just whatever he had on hand, and then goes out, builds this roster for this year, and they're the number 1 team in the country. They've lost 1 game. Really damn impressive. Like, the guy's a stud. And by the way, handsome son of a gun. Handsome son of a gun. Really talented. Glad that he's in Ann Arbor. All right, I've gone on record. I think Dusty May
I'm
is
still not going to an after party with Larry Summers.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
There's too much sweating going on. There'll be 1,000,000 degrees in whatever room that they're in.
You're saying Ellison.
Ellison,
Yeah.
Larry
tracking.
Ellison. I'm not. No.
Okay.
And I'll probably have to chew on a dirty sweat sock or something while he spits in my face.
Oh.
All right. Should we
How
do
about
some
we
memes?
do some memes? Yeah, let's do some memes.
That's meme-tastic.
That's meme-tastic.
We should do that one more time.
All right. Into some we've got some
Coming out strong right here.
inappropriate. So this sign is a bathroom sign for washing hands that's gone viral. I think you'll see why early on. It just says, please wash your hands, but they're showing the sink from the backside.
Sorry, I had autoplay on. There we go.
So it sure looks like something else. I'm not going to describe it if you're driving in your car listening to the audio podcast, because I don't know how to do it without getting us
even
in
if it
trouble.
was upside down,
Yeah,
still doesn't look right.
still doesn't look great.
You like how
Yeah.
I did that on the fly there?
I did. That was nice.
It kind of it looks like 2 hands and one of those paint palettes and like a long stem mushroom are all converging.
Yes,
yes.
into a hole. Looks like what Larry Ellison, Tom, was suggesting he would have to do at one of those parties. That's what it looks
All right,
like.
Tom.
While chewing on a dirty sweat sock.
That scene from Wedding Crashers.
I want to play some tummy sticks.
We've talked about this. Obviously, Sacramento State joining the Middle American Conference, the MAC, and everyone no one can stop talking about this because now you're going to have the Ball Sac State game.
Yes. The much anticipated Ball Sac game.
You know what? MAC games don't get the highest television ratings, which is surprising. It's not surprising, but also kind of disappointing because they play on Tuesday and Wednesday when we have nothing else to look forward to in life. And yet they're still not great ratings. I think that one, we'll have to track that this year if they play. Obviously, the MAC, big conference, you don't play every team in the MAC, but we'll have to track that because I would be curious if that outperforms, Akron, Kent State. And I would think that it would because we got to get on that trophy.
Yeah.
We got to start getting tickets to Muncie, make hotel reservations.
Yeah.
Get the motorhome fired up, head up there on a road trip.
Man, I'm not going to get into my Muncie story.
Tailgate on a Tuesday.
What you got to do.
That's what you got to do.
With all 18 other people that are at the game. Okay, this one is an ex-post. We got Lindsey Vaughn's legacy is forever part of Team USA. And then the comment is, this looks like a Hunger Games tribute poster after they die.
Fire the cannon.
Yeah. Okay. Hopefully Lindsay doesn't die. Although it does look like her dog passed away this week. That's
Oh,
tough.
man.
Yeah.
Last I heard, she got on a plane.
Yeah.
That's
she was
all I
coming
heard.
back home for more consulting. Okay, this is just a tweet from Bob Golan. Mr. Bob Golan. I wonder if that guy who came up with the term one-hit wonder came up with any other phrases. It's a fair question. Good question, Bob. I don't know. Okay, some of you need to hear this. Okay? Look at me. Your AI girlfriend or the AI person that you talk to that says sweet nothings about you and some really graphic, disgusting stuff to you is not real. This is what it is. This is a picture. This is your AI girlfriend. She's a hot blonde. This is your AI girlfriend without makeup. She's a CPU, a bunch of bolts, screws.
There's a fan in there.
There's a fan, yeah. Whatever else.
Some
goes
have
into
liquid
it.
cooling.
You know what? It really creeped me out the other day. As much as I've used like Grok to like look things up or ask it questions, I was on it the other day and it said Tom, comma, and I was like, how do you know my name? I never gave it to you.
Which one were you on?
Grok.
Well, it's linked up to your
profile.
X account,
Yeah.
so
Oh.
yeah. I'd understand I'd understand if it was like, Chat GPT because that's really not connected to anything.
Or
but
if it called you by your nickname.
Yeah.
Mr.
Hello.
Tugglesworth.
Mr. Tugglesworth.
Very troubling. Interesting indeed.
Okay, we've got. I still love your outfit. We've got another tweet from Jarvis. Olympic skiers are like, quote, I have 2% body fat. I train 23 hours a day. I've had 87 surgeries. And Olympic snowboarders are like, I've smoked this many drugs today, and they hold up their hand, which is a mitten.
In a mitten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. There's a lot still going on. I know it's not necessarily in the sports world, but there's lots of intersection with entertainment, sports, news, and the Epstein files. And a lot of people, hopefully you can do this in the audience, can mark yourself safe from being in the Epstein files after the latest tranche, many of which, by the way, were deleted right after they were posted. I wonder why that is.
Did you see that Whoopi tried, she like, to set the record straight, and she came on and like showed why she was in the Epstein, and the whole thing was because she wanted to use his plane. That was it. There was nothing else.
Yeah.
But
The
it's like-
Lolita Express never leads to bad things.
My favorite cope was, I can't remember who it was, but they came out and said, well, clearly if you're not on the Epstein list, you have no sort of influence and you're not one of the global elites.
Yeah, that's not a great take. That's one that you use your inside voice for and you just don't say at all. Who's coming over for dinner, honey? Were they on the Epstein list or not? No?
We're going to have grape soda and jerky.
And jerky.
See what you did there. I
Now,
see.
okay, this is my question. I'm sorry. I got to bring this up.
Okay.
So you have all these references toward pizza, grape soda, and jerky. And it's all in reference to these people who have their own personal chefs and eat at Michelin-rated restaurants all over the world. Do we really think that they're eating pizza, beef jerky, and drinking grape soda when they have their own like wine caves, in the down in the streets of Paris? It doesn't make any sense to me. Obviously, this is my tinfoil hat again. It's got to be code for something. And furthermore, when was the last time that we have ever seen or ever seen any of these people holding like a Slim Jim?
Yeah. Well, the grape soda is really the biggest one. Like, you're right. Like those people, maybe a handful of them.
Yeah.
99% of those people don't eat that way. Some of them might not know those things exist.
Yeah, well, there was one email I saw someone posted where it was, he was saying, "Oh, I have the best beef jerky chef," and he named some weird third world country. Like they don't make jerky there. I'm so sorry. Come on.
It's clearly code for something.
Oh, yeah.
And if you think it's not, like you're not paying attention. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got 6 bags of jerky in my freezer. I didn't know you had to freeze jerky. Isn't that kind of not the purpose of it?
Right.
Or like, will the jerky stay for my flight home, or do I need to keep it on ice?
Yeah.
Said no trucker ever.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We're I think next week on No Party Affiliation we're getting into that, or we were going to this week and then we couldn't because Chris very selfishly had a baby. So teasing Chris, we love you and your little girl. And it was actually great because I was slammed that day, so to not do the episode was awesome. But we'll get into that on the other show. For now, we get back to memes, and we've got another tweet. Which one do I read first?
The top one.
Okay, so Eddie's saying, 5 years ago, I shat myself in an escape room. It is my brother's favorite story. Today, he had frontal lobe surgery, and there was potential for memory loss. This is the first text he sent me from recovery. I survived the surgery, and I still remembered what happened in the escape room.
Dang it. He had a slim chance.
Yeah, rats. We got... Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Sources confirm this is breaking news, folks. Travis Kelce is pregnant.
There we go.
About time.
I tell you what. Kudos. You could take this multiple ways, but Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs just restructured his deal and put most of his funding for this year into his bonus, not his. So they changed the cap figures, but they saved I think $43 million in cap money to try and build this roster. Now, is he still getting his money? Yes. Did he sign a crazy $450 or $405, whatever it was, $1 million deal years ago that they're having to figure out now? Yes. All those things are true. But that's how you do it. You get creative, Kirk Cousins. You get creative and try and build a team around you and work the cap space so you've got some room to go and play. I think it's good because they had a terrible year. He's obviously recovering from an injury too. All right, let's move on. We got a tactical firearm sign. Criminals obey gun laws like politicians follow their oaths of office. Great reminder. I love any store or shop that will put up straight truth like that.
Mm-hmm.
Put yourself out there. You're going to piss off some people, but I tell you what, gun savants and people who want guns and they're gun owners like us, they'll flock to a store like that. Another tweet. Them. Make the Olympic outfits look like an old Tim Hortons cup had a baby with a pissed-in Goodwill sleeping bag. Lululemon, say no more. Showing the Canadian. I guess those were the Canadian ones.
So that's what they wore at the opening ceremony. And I remember going oh, that's interesting. It's shaped like the flag. And then when they moved in closer, you could see I'm like, someone at Lululemon was like, I got it. Don't worry.
Derelict.
Have you heard the story about Lululemon and the owner of it? The reason why he named it Lululemon?
Do I want to?
Supposedly, this is how the story goes.
Okay.
Evidently, the guy who founded Lululemon had a tremendous sense of humor, I guess. And he came up with that name because he wanted to hear Asians pronounce it.
I tell you what, I'll buy some stock in Lululemon now.
That's
I've got
great.
one pair of pants from them. Maybe I have to get more because that's amazing.
Now, yeah.
What's crazy is most of the people who wear it. Well, that's not true. There's conservative white women who wear it too, but there's a lot of libs who like wear that too, and who would be outraged if they knew that was the case.
No, what I think is funny, and I don't think I think we talked about, but you guys didn't see the opening. There was an opening ceremony to the Olympics. There was a lot of countries that had like the puffy style like jackets, but in short form. They were shorts. They weren't wearing. They were wearing like tight like tight like training. You know what you'd wear under when you're training like outside with shorts, and then they had puffy like ski jacket shorts on, and it's like this is.
Interesting.
This is weird. Like, this is weird. The bold choice for the Winter Olympics. You'd think you'd just wear pants.
Right.
But no, it was.
Maybe fun to sit on. Ooh, squishy.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird looking, and I didn't like it. And then there was like the Hershey Kiss thing that followed in front of them. It was weird.
I wore a pair of pants like those once at one of Larry Ellison's parties.
Listen, Larry, we love you around these parts. You keep supporting the maize and blue. Don't let my friend Tom sway you. We will put whatever you want in his mouth as long as you keep funding the program. That's not true. And now that I say that, that could have gone a lot.
Let's just go to the next meme.
Yeah, next meme. Okay, we've got a Babylon Bee title, headline. Imperial Stormtrooper once again finishes dead last in the Olympic biathlon. Yeah, they're terrible shots.
Yeah.
Terrible shots.
Or are they? There's a thing you got to go on and look. There was some podcast people that went out and they said, are they? Or did Darth Vader say, don't shoot them? And that's why they missed in the first film. Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? Okay.
Another Star. Hey, I didn't realize these were back to back. Another Star Wars one.
Okay. We got like night vision cameras. We got some Ewoks up top and Chewbacca down below. Me and my son have been sneaking out in the middle of the night in Chewbacca costumes just to mess with our neighbors' trail cams.
That would be great.
That actually would be. Okay. Another one of these.
2 left.
The next great college football rivalry, the Ball Sack Bowl. There it is again, Ball State, Sac State, who will start meeting each other as a part of conference play in the MAC this year. This one, a little graphic visually, but so we
just read it and then I'll pop it up.
So, and just like that, we got Barbie on her knees here, and Ken standing. You can kind of imagine the scene for those listening. Just like that, Barbie suddenly realized that Ken was a progressive liberal. Yeah, I mean,
there's nothing down there.
Nothing down there.
A smoothie.
The procedure has happened, and Barbie's hands.
Yeah, like what?
Well, wait a minute.
I didn't sign up for this. That's it.
Provocative finish. A provocative finish indeed. Reminder, all those great things coming up this weekend. Auto Trader 400, Genesis Invitational, Michigan, Duke, Arizona, Houston, excuse me. You've got the men's gold medal game. You got the semis tomorrow. All sorts of great things to look forward to. Go enjoy all of it. Enjoy your weekend. We'll look forward to seeing you back here on Tuesday. Hit that like button, please, on your way out. Make sure you share this episode. We'll see you then. Be safe. Be smart. Be free.
We got ball and banter.